Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm Emily with Payroll. I am the department manager. And what we'll be covering today is how to process a manual check within our Cyberpay online product. This would be in a situation of maybe there was something incorrect on your last payroll, hours got missed, or maybe you're terminating that employee, or they're being laid off and you need to get them a paycheck today. Um, this would not be what you would want to do if you're going to simply give them an advance, and then you're going to deduct that off of their next check. This would not be the process you'd want for that. This is simply needing to cut them a check that our computer system will calculate taxes for you and give you the take-home pay, and that way it will account for that check on your next payroll. So hopefully you are all able to see my screen here. And when you log on to your Cyberpay online product, you are going to go into the payroll menu, um, just like if you were going to process a payroll. So we're going to select payroll. Now, there is not a different date that you would assign to this manual check. You would leave it as the next check date in sequence, and that is because that is when this check will actually process. You will receive a report today that has the report time stamped on the top corner that you can use in order to provide to the employee if that's what you would like. There is also a stub that will generate with the payroll once it processes, and if you decide you can provide that stub at that time to them. So we are going to leave our check date alone as it shows for the next one, and we're going to click on Enter Payroll. And when we get into Enter Payroll, it's going to default to the standard pay grid. And what we need to do is come here to where we see it says Manual Checks. And when we select manual checks, you'll notice that it is a blank grid. And this is correct because what we have to do is add in the employee of who we want to assign this manual check to. So to do that, I'm going to come here to this plus button where it says add EE/pay. And once I click on that, then I can see in here the employees that I need or employee that I need to give the check to. If the employee has already been terminated and you've realized you missed some hours, you can select this show terminated option right here. And it will pop up with this warning that will say things like maybe deductions and benefits and direct deposits have been turned off by this point. But if that's, you would simply click OK if that's acceptable to you. And then they should show within the list of who you want to pick for your manual check. So we're going to pick on Susan Q. Office today. So I've selected her from my list. And then what I need to do is select what it is that I'm giving her this manual check for. Is it regular pay? Is it bonus? Is it overtime pay, vacation, whatever it may be. But for today, we're going to pretend that she missed a day of wage. So we're going to give her regular hours, and then we're going to select add. And then it will tell us that we have successfully added that. And we can see kind of in the background here that it is squatting there. So we're going to say, okay. But if we had any more hour types we wanted to assign, then we would click on the drop down and say what we needed to add. Like, so maybe for example, we want to also add overtime pay. That would be where we would select overtime, and then we would select add on that, and it will tell us successfully added that. And when we say okay, then we will cancel when we're done adding the pay categories. And as you can see, there is now a row of regular and a row of overtime here on the grid for us. And what we would do is simply add in whatever it was that they missed. Maybe she missed a day of regular pay, and maybe that day was a 10-hour day, and we're giving her 8 of regular and 2 of overtime. So we're just going to add in our hours there, and as we add them, we can see it's calculating our gross here. And then we want to be sure that we save this check. Now, we can submit this check and review it as is, but what if this particular employee has deductions, medical premiums, something that we know is preset with a dollar amount? And we don't want that to come from this manual check because it's already had the deductions occur on the previous check. So we're going to come here to where we see holds right here. So once I click on holds, I am going to say that it is only affecting this one person. And I can see it's defaulted to Susan Office. And it will default to my manual check number that I'm doing. And it will default to just this pay only. These are the settings we want to see. And then we would come in here and we would select which deductions we do not want to calculate on the payroll. And as you can see, as I select them, it turns them yellow. And if I can select anything that I don't want to have calculate here. So I'm going to select those, and then I'm going to hit this apply button right here. So it's going to apply our deduction holds, and then I can save and close. And I have successfully put a hold now on any deductions or benefits that we'll try to calculate on this manual check I'm doing. So once I have the manual check entered in, I'm going to come here to where it says Calc Manual Checks. So once I click on that, it's basically showing me that I need to verify the submission. So I'm going to submit. And then it's asking if do you want to submit manual checks for preview? Yes, we do. So I'm going to say yes. And then it will tell me that it will be with me shortly. So I'm going to click OK. And then what we'll notice as this calculates is if I refresh my screen here, you'll notice that I have this blue banner at the top of the page, and it tells me that I have one payroll calculation that is processing. When this is complete and it's done, it will change to pending approval. And you'll notice that the one payroll calculation is blue, and when I hover my mouse over it, it underlines itself, and that's because this is a button. And so when I click on this, you'll notice that sometimes it takes clicking on it to refresh it, and it shows now that it's pending approval. So it's already pending my approval, and I can see I have the payroll preview to review, and then I have under the workflow actions what I can do. I can save this check, change it, or remove it, and we'll cover those. But first, what I'm going to do is review it. So I'm going to click on this PDF right here, and depending upon your web browser, it may pop right up, or you may have to open it. And I can see with Susan Office here that these are the hours that I've entered in for her. I can see that the deductions that I did not say to hold are showing on here, but the deduction that I did say to hold is not calculating anything. And I can see here on the same line as where I see her name is the net check amount. So in this particular case, the check I would want to write her would be $292.88. I can see that right there. And here's my timestamp right here of when I calculated this manual check. And that way, even though this check won't actually run until the payroll generates on 2/28, I can at least print this out and provide this to Susan Office to show that I wrote her a check today for the $292.88. So I'm going to go ahead and close this print preview by selecting this X up here on the tab. And once I close, it should take me back to the screen where the manual check is pending what it is I want to do. If this check is good to go, then I would save it. If there's something I needed to change, then I would select change. And then remove means I made this manual check an error. I didn't mean to do it. It's completely wrong. I don't want it, and I want to delete it. So we find that in the event of maybe you were just trying to do a dummy calculation for somebody for some reason. So remove would be the option. But let's pretend that I want to make a change to this manual check because I didn't realize that there was a $50 purchase. So I'm going to select change. And then it's going to ask me to confirm that that's really what I want to do. So I'm going to say change pay amounts. And then what it'll do is it'll take me back to the main menu. That's where I'm going to go back into enter payroll. And I'm going to come back into my option here for manual checks. So I'm going to select manual checks again, and you'll notice that I have this check sitting here waiting, and I'm going to go back into holds. So I'm going to select the holds button here. And I don't want this purchase here. That was one of the ones we hadn't selected originally. So I'm going to select it now, and I'll notice it highlights in yellow. And then I'm going to apply and then hit save and close. And then I'm going to calculate this manual check again. So we're going to hit calc manual checks. Once I select that, I'm going to hit submit. Yes, I want a preview. Okay, I understand it will be with me shortly. And then once again, we should be able to see this manual check calculate. I'm going to hit refresh on my page here so that I can see that the banner up here shows that it's processing. And it is already ready for us to go. So I'm going to double click again on one payroll calculation pending approval, and you'll notice I now have my new PDF. So I'm going to open that PDF. And now I can see that the purchase for this employee's check is gone. And now the new manual check amount is this $342.88 right here. I can print this report out and attach my manual check to it. And to approve, I'm going to select Save and Save Manual Check. And then that will make it so that that check is pending and waiting there for me for the next payroll. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please reach out if you have any further questions.